Yesterday I was walking on my way to the mall to get some bubble tea, and I was listening on the radio player app on my phone to Sportsnet 650. And they had John Weisbrod on for an interview. They were talking about things, they were bringing up things about the draft and free agency and potentially moving the 10th overall pick. Weisbrod was giving the we'll be open to all options kind of answers and all that. And then they asked him about Loui Eriksson. And Weisbrod actually said that the Eriksson comments, which were said at the World Championships, wherein Eriksson said that he doesn't see eye to eye with Travis Green, those were not new news to the Canucks, because they had end-of-season interviews with every player where they sat down with the management and they talked about the year. So apparently, just from everything that I heard, Loui Eriksson was already talking about his feelings to the Vancouver Canucks privately. But the public outburst of these emotions at the World Championships was something that people didn't expect. Fast forward about 10-15 minutes later and I switch over, there's a commercial break, so I go over to TSN 1040. And I'm listening to Sekeres and Price. And Sekeres talks about this one thing that he actually tweets about too. I'll read the tweet for you because it pretty much sums up everything that he said on the radio. My understanding is Loui Eriksson's family is moving out of Vancouver and back to Dallas. Further indication that Eriksson doesn't anticipate playing for the Canucks next season and expects a trade. This was said on the radio, and it actually really surprised me because I was sitting there, I was eating an A&W burger, and I was like, okay, what's this? I just listened to John Weisbrod talking about Eriksson, and now they're talking about Eriksson on TSN. Cool, what is this? And all of a sudden hearing that he's apparently moving back to Dallas, where his career blossomed and he hit his prime, and his family, they settled in. It's very interesting. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, assuming this is true, Eriksson is pretty much just out. They said on the radio that he was going the Thomas Vanek route, where his family stays placed in one location, and the dad, Thomas Vanek, goes out with a whole bunch of different teams, and he plays, and he goes into the playoffs and everything. So that was an idea that was brought up on TSN saying, hey, Eriksson might be going the Vanek route, where the family stays placed in Dallas, and he goes over to whatever team he gets traded to, he plays, and he plays, and he plays, and eventually he comes back at the end of the line with a whole bunch of money. So if this is the case, then Loui Eriksson very well may not be a Canuck next year. How he gets moved out of Vancouver, I have no idea remotely, but, you know, this is an interesting way to look at it. Especially since it's virtually confirmed now that he doesn't really believe he's going to be staying. At least, I say virtually confirmed because this is obviously just Sekeres saying what he's heard. There's no proof whatsoever that's been revealed thus far, so let's just take this all with a little bit of salt. But honestly, man, it's just kind of unfortunate how this whole Eriksson thing has come out. First off, he signs that big contract, he gets all the money in the world. Second off, he comes over, he scores a goal in his own net. We have ourselves a meme of Loui Eriksson looking up into the Jumbotron. For the next few years, Eriksson does a very minimal amount of work in comparison to what we thought he would do. Then he goes over to the World Championships, talks about his coach publicly, and now he's leaving the city. So if this is the timeline, then okay. Loui, man, seriously, but, you know, this is all just with a grain of salt, as I said, so if this is indeed false, then I apologize, and honestly, I hope it's false. I hope he does get his head back in the game, and he puts himself in the right positions to succeed going forward, but just the first half of his 6-year contract, it doesn't really look like that's happened thus far. Ah, man, at least we have the draft later today, right? Hope you enjoyed this video. Social Dash Roses 99, and bye.